Welcome to Chapter 2. In this chapter, we'll take a look at three types of problems associated with the status quo in parking requirements. We'll look at suburban areas, urban districts, and neighborhoods with high population density. This is an image of Ontario and Rancho Cucamonga, California. It shows a shopping mall, and it shows other land uses in the typical pattern of the suburbs. This area has single-site peak use parking. In other words, each site is designed to accommodate the highest possible parking demand at the highest possible time of the year. And the result is significant walkability and land use challenges. Densities are low, uses are separated, and the private automobile is prioritized. This is what it looks like on the ground, a vast sea of parking. Often, the criticism of minimum parking requirements are focused on suburban areas, but there are issues in urban areas as well. This image shows South Pasadena, a community in Southern California, and you can see a fine-grained urban form, livability, walkability, street trees, all sorts of good things going on. The parking doesn't dominate the street as it does in the suburbs. But the problem here is that parking requirements are an invisible block to community development. In this case, the city's parking requirement of 10 spaces per 1,000 for restaurant uses was preventing restaurants from going into and reusing the historic buildings on this street, Mission Street in South Pasadena. The city has actually changed this to allow restaurant developments to use the shared parking pool. So sometimes parking requirements are an invisible impediment to economic development. That's the view on the street. You see lots of good things happening, but the use mix on that street is influenced by the parking requirements. The third example is Huntington Park, California. This is a built-up area that was built at low to moderate density, but it has a very high density of people per unit. The result is lots of complaints about parking. So this built-out urban form with small parcels has people density, and that produces parking anxiety. And so the on-street parking spaces are full, everyone is complaining about parking. One of the responses is to raise parking requirements, which unfortunately makes it harder to do affordable and rental housing. So sometimes parking requirements, unresolved issues with parking, are used to prevent development that otherwise should occur. Now that we understand some of the problems with status quo parking requirements, let's move to Chapter 3, where we'll discuss a framework for understanding parking requirements.